first visuals coming in of the finance minister leaving her residence. As we said, all eyes will be on the finance minister and her Baikata. Let me bring in Anshul also in the conversation. Okay, we seem to have lost that connection with Anshul. But as I said, first visuals of the finance minister leaving her residence. All eyes will be on her Baikata and the union budget that she will be presenting. As we've been pointing out, this is going to be the last full budget that is going to be presented by Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman before we see the general elections of 2024. And that is why the expectations are that will we actually see those big bang reforms? Will we see those big announcements that could come in? Will it be a populist budget, or will it be a pragmatic one? Because considering the fact there are enough global indicators saying that there are recessionary trends, we are seeing layoffs not just globally but in India as well. So is that wiggle room still available? Before we reconnect with our colleague Anshul, we're getting some more visuals coming in as well. We'll try and establish a connection with our colleagues to understand what's really happening on the ground, and if any inside scoop that they're picking up, or what is it for the common man and the middle class, and what we can really hear from the finance minister this time around. As we've been saying, that the economic survey has already set the tone and tenor that yes, there is road to recovery, there are signs of optimism, and that is why the expectations are many as well. But this is an election year. There are 9 states that are going to go to polls, and then the general elections of 2024. So will the government want to go forward with those big bang reforms, or will they want to keep to that fiscal discipline as well? I believe Anshul is now joining us. Anshul, we've just gotten those visuals of the finance minister leaving her residence. Talk to us about the itinerary of the finance minister. What time are we expecting the presentation of the budget?
So yes, at exactly 8:30 a.m., Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman has just left from her residence, and she is on her way to the Finance Ministry, where she would be taking that Bahi Khata with her, and a very, very crucial meeting would be held inside the Finance Ministry is what we have been told. And after that meeting concludes, the Bahi Khata, there would be a photo op right outside the Finance Ministry, and from there that Bahi Khata along with the MOS Finance Secretary and other top officials of the Finance Ministry would be taking that Bahi Khata to the President's house, where another meeting would be held with the President. And after that, after meeting the President, Nirmala Sitharaman and the entire finance team would be returning to the Parliament House, where the cabinet meeting would be held and the budget would be presented. In fact, we signed on that by the cabinet by the cabinet of the country. And after that, the budget would be presented in front of the people at approximately 11 a.m. is what we have been told. So yes, just in the next 2.5 hours is the time when that very, very important and probably the most crucial budget over the last 5 years would be presented in front of the country, and it remains to be seen what comes out in that budget. But yes, as you rightly mentioned, that all hopes and all eyes are now pointed towards the Finance Ministry and the Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman as she goes on to decide the future of this country, of the fastest growing economy over the next 2.5 hours. So yes, today is a very, very important day, and that is the reason why all eyes are now set on Nirmala Sitharaman and as to what is she going to present in front of the country, and what is the growth story that she is going to project for the country this time around.
Right. So as Anshul is pointing out, the day has begun. All eyes will be on the finance minister. We did get you those visuals of her leaving her residence. She will be at the North Block, and then we will have the presentation of the union budget somewhere around 11 a.m. All eyes will be on that Baikata. Which way will the finance minister go? Anshul, we'll leave the conversation there. Keep tracking those developments. We'll continue to come back to all our colleagues to understand the mood on the ground. Let me also continue the conversation with our guest. Gaurav, I know you wanted to come in. Please go ahead. Gaurav, I believe you wanted to make a point.
Yeah, so I wanted to make a point on the demand for a populist budget. If you look at the trends of the pre-election year full budgets over the last say 15 years or so, the only budget that stands out, as the pre-election full budget was in 2008 when the farm loan waiver was announced. After that, all pre-election budgets, full budgets, that is 2013 and 2018, have actually not been populist, quote-unquote populist in that measure, because most of these budgets, 2013 was a budget which was widely expected to be a populist budget, but it actually towed the path of fiscal discipline. 2018 was also more or less similar. In fact, we have seen, if you analyze trend over the last 15 years or so, you will see probably rural spending in some of these pre-election budgets actually have come down a little bit or so. So they have not been populist. The last populist budget in that sense actually came out in 2008 when the farm loan waiver came, and then 2000 elections, the UPA came back to power. I would not, and going by the characteristic of this government, I don't think the government is going to make any kind of populist announcements, also because it could probably demonstrate the government's own lack of confidence about its public finance management, and I think it will toe the line with fiscal discipline, which it has been doing over the last 7-8 years.
And we're already getting those first visuals now coming in. We did get you those visuals of the finance minister leaving her residence. She in fact has now arrived at the North Block. Those first visuals of the finance minister, as we pointed out, there will be a photo opportunity and then she will be presenting the union budget. So all eyes on her Baikata. Those visuals of the finance minister reaching the North Block first here on CNN News 18. As we've been pointing out, this is going to be very crucial on multiple levels. This is going to be the last full budget before the general elections of 2024. There are also 9 states that are going to polls right through the year. So how much wiggle room does the finance minister really have to bring a big bang reformist budget, a populist budget, or will it be a pragmatic one? I also want to bring in Rajiv Gora in the conversation. Rajiv, look at the kind of narrative that the government is putting out in terms of the numbers which have been supported by the Eco Survey, that India is on a path of recovery. Even if you look at the growth outlook report that has been put out by the IMF, it is still saying that India will retain the tag of the fastest growing economy. Despite that, we are seeing criticism that is coming in as far as the